Welcome to the 73rd episode of the All-Round Mastery Program. Today's topic, I'm glad to say, I titled Opening the Gates, Stepping into New Possibilities. This title is not one that is generated out of just wanting people to feel good. It's not an hype. The title came as an inspiration and also as a form of expression after I'd thought about the things happening around me and the insights I believe God will want me to share for myself and others around me as well. It's that time of the year where people are rejoicing, people are traveling. Some people complain from January to November, and then December, they'll find every means to go to the village or go to their city to go have some fun. And January will come, sometimes people come back complaining. Now, the question is, why should that be? What can change? I believe by God's grace, we're going to see certain things that would be shared and would encourage you to get into 2026 better than you've ever approached any other year before now. And that's what I hope you would enjoy today. A program where we share ideas, and we will not try to stand in the place of your professional help and, those that would help you with your banking stuff, with your financial stuff. We're not trying to replace the people who would stand as your medical practitioners. Whatever we share, we're just sharing things that has worked for us here, and then hoping that maybe it will work for you as well. So that's the disclaimer, so that you know that we're here just to help. It's education, right? Webinar rules. I want everyone to hear what I'm saying. I want everyone to focus. But in case you're on the move, you're at work, or you're doing something, just relax, put your earpiece in your head and busy. If you have writing material around you, that would be the best, because you would want to have one or 2 points, there. And please send your email to us. If you have not registered officially on the link, you can drop your email in the chat box. That way we can send you a copy of today's webinars, the workbook, because I've prepared a wonderful workbook. This workbook is not just a workbook just to play with. It's a workbook that when you go through, it will help you to create your action plan for 2026. It's simple enough, but adequate to gather information from you. That information will be two-way. I would also share to your email a link to a form similar to the workbook, but now that would help me to have a response from you, because the workbook would serve you, but the form would help us on this side at Make a Mark Consulting to help work with you during 2026. We'll know what we need to do to share with you where you need help. My name is VB, Coach VB, as people call me, life and positive psychology coach, also an entrepreneur. I'm also a proud member of the OLI, Leadership Institute, one of the great ideas that's coming out of Africa. I'm glad to have been there, and that's it's influencing whatever I'm doing from now on, because leadership is a fulcrum of development, really. So you're going to see a lot of things from me, and maybe you're able to follow me as I go on my journey, even in that realm of leadership as well. A big thank you to all the people in my life, family and professors here and there. So great work from them. A big thank you to God that gave me the opportunity. All right. So I'm just saying, this is what I like to do. This is what I love to do. I'm passionate about this. Tonight is about transition, right? It's about standing at the edge of 1 year. And literally, we're standing at the edge of just a few days to cross into the new year. We're standing at the edge of 1 year. And we're making conscious decisions about how you would enter the next one. I've titled this session, Opening the Gates. That's what I've titled this session. Opening the gates, stepping into new possibilities. Now, the truth is this. Every new year comes with opportunities, but not everyone steps into them. It's not because the gates are locked, but because many people don't know how to approach them. We think we approach the new year by setting new year wishes, new year messages, and we do a lot of prayers, and we're just thinking about it. While some people are going on strategic meetings, some people are going on retreats, some people are just plainly having fun and hoping that whatever they say, whether they are having their champagne or their beer or their soft drinks or cocoa and tea, will be what they will get. They say, oh, it's going to be a new year. Some people just don't know how to approach them, how to approach these gates. Right? Not because the gates are locked, but because people don't just know what to do. So tonight is not about hype. It's not about motivation that fades tomorrow. I'm not going to try and motivate you tonight. I'm just going to come with clarity. It's about positioning. And it's about helping you step into 2026 with confidence, intention, and faith. So let's begin. So we'll talk about 2026. We must be honest about 2025, right? For many people, 2025 was not an easy. And I will tell you also, it was not a year that I figured out correct, right? 2025 for me was a year I had a lot of surprises. Some looked bad initially, and then I learned to do. 2025 was for me that year where I learned to have faith in God. It was a year where I learned to do new things. It was a year where I learned to let go of what I perceived as being ideal and embrace change. So 2025 came for me with some baggage for a professional thing I was trying to achieve. And that was a missing part of it for some awkward reasons. Should have been done last year. And then there was this hula baloo about the court case and the associations were in a quagmire. And there I was stuck. And this was holding several of the things. But 2025 was also that year where I had to launch headfirst into every opportunity that came my way. Some of them looked impossible to achieve. Some were like mirages. For many people, 2025 was not an easy year as well, because 2025 was the year where plans changed. It was the year where energy was stretched. 2025 for most people was a year where some doors were closed, while some methods stopped working. I experienced all of this. Some relationships also shifted. Some shifted backwards. Some went forward. Some were totally admitted. And for some of you, 2025 may not have looked the way you expected it to. But let me say this clearly. 2025 was not a wasted year. Rather, 2025 was an instructional year. Because life does not always move us forward by promotion. Have somebody heard that? That life does not always move us forward by promotion. Sometimes it moves us forward by instruction. 2025 was that year where instruction for most people came as the way of life. Changes. A lot of people in diaspora started to have questions about their moves, about their jobs, about their plans, about their future. Many people back home here in Nigeria are also questioning the polity, questioning the economics, questioning the future, questioning the real fabric of what they believe. A lot of things happen in spiritual areas, in institutions. A lot of things happen globally. That's why I said 25 was moving us forward by instruction, not just by promotion. So 2025 taught many of us what matters and taught us what doesn't. It showed us where we overextended ourselves. It showed us where we underestimated our strength. 2025 showed us that growth often comes through constraint, not comfort. And since you are here today, It means you survive. It means you learn and you're still standing. So I want to quietly reflect for you. Apart from celebrating you for standing and surviving, I'm going to ask you, what did 2025 teach you about yourself? What did it teach you about your habits? What did 2025 teach you about your decisions, your resilience as well? Now, don't rush this. I'm going to give you 60 seconds to just think about it. What did 2025 teach you about yourself, your habits, your decisions, and your resilience? Because you see, reflection gives meaning to experience. Whatever you experience, if you do not reflect on it, you tend not to take the lesson. And today, I want you to reflect. 30 more seconds. If you have a writing material, you can just write it out. What did 2025 teach you about yourself, your habits, your decisions, and your resilience? And if you feel like sharing, you can also go to the chat box and tell me what 2025 taught you about yourself, your resilience, your habits, your strengths. You can share them on the chat. All right. Let's move on. Let me introduce an idea that would frame the rest of this session. The idea that life is full of gates. Oh, if you're a Nigerian Christian, or maybe you are a diaspora, I'm sure there are these songs that talk about gates being lifted and talk about what's that word? The gatekeepers, all right? What was it? It was a nearly constant mantra for 2025, the gatekeepers. Because life really, truly is full of gates. And I call it the gate metaphor. That there are gates into new opportunities. There are gates into new seasons. There are gates into growth, expansion, and purpose. But here's something many people miss. A gate does not open just because you arrive. Just the same way that standing in front of a door doesn't necessarily open the door, except, of course, it's an automated door with a sensor that's working. But if it's a door that has a lock and a key, just standing in front of it does not make it open. A gate only opens when you arrive aligned. When you stand in front of a door or a gate that has a lock, you need to get the key, the right one. Insert it in the keyhole the right way. You must align it and turn it the number of times required by that very lock. In fact, nowadays, some keys won't come out. They wouldn't turn. They wouldn't enter unless you place them in a particular way, whether vertically or horizontally. The gate opens when you arrive aligned. When you are aligned in mindset. When you are aligned in preparation. And you are aligned in posture. Now, some people arrive too early, so they are unprepared for the gate, while some arrive too late and they are hesitant. They were there. They were wondering, should I step into this gate? This gate of opportunity, should I step into? Some people arrived and they were not prepared. They were not prepared. They were not ready. They didn't have what it would to take them to go into the gate. They were wondering what they needed to go back for. Why some arrived with entitlement instead of readiness? I was speaking with a client, and she told me the story I was also sharing, of people who have this mentality of entitlement, who think everybody owes them something. and I've figured out, really, most people I've met in the last year who were, more or less pathfinders, who were forging ahead despite all odds, were never people with a sense of entitlement. They were usually women and men who felt no one owed them anything, not even the government, not even the system, and they were taking their decisions in their own hands. And so for those who arrive either too early or prepared, or hesitant, or they were too late, or those who arrived with entitlement instead of readiness, the gate remains closed. Because you see, in life, there is timing, and there is also responsibility. So, faith positions you, but action moves you. I will share a true life story. I was about to sit for an exam. And it's an exam that I've eluded me for years because I'd never got around to doing it. And when I got around to the requirements were so numerous, it took about 4 years to get the requirements to do it. In fact, it took about 6 years to get the requirements to do it. And then somebody told me, sir, if you're going to go for this exam, I want to register in a particular training institution. And I asked how much to cost. Then it was going to cost about, I think, around 50 or 200,000. And the person said, I said, why do I can read on my own? He said, no. He said, do this. If you don't like it, I'll refund you. Oh, so that's a great assurance, right? So I registered for it. And I told other people to register. While doing that, someone else called my attention and said, you don't need to. Just attend a few free tutorials and you'll be good. But guess what? I had to do about 12 weeks of classes every weekend, Saturday and Sundays, about 12 hours every week. And I did that for the first 12 weeks. Ended it. There was an extension. I did another maybe 6 or 7 weeks. And believe you me, if I didn't go for that training, oh man, I would have sweated. Seriously, because there was so much more involved in that training that went beyond the exams itself. Wow, yeah. I think I got maybe 200% or 300% what I needed, all from that training. Now, what am I getting? Faith positions you. So I prayed, I wanted it to happen. I was trusting God for it to happen. But action, what? Action moves you. I stepped in, made that payment, committed to. Funny enough, I came out as the governor of that class. I don't know how they did it. Till today, I'm still wondering why they chose it. But what I'm saying is, I learned far beyond what I needed to do for it. And today, I'm a governor of this decision, and it's shaping my life around. So, in case you're a person of faith, remember, you need to also act as well. As we look forward toward 2026, the question is not whether there are opportunities. We know there are opportunities. Someone told me yesterday, a friend of mine is a pastor in Ibadan. He said, there are opportunities all around. Between now and March, they're going to empower 30 people in the business. He said because he knows they will do well, even in Nigeria. So we know the opportunities. The question is, are you positioned to enter them? Whether, and on this call, I have a diversity. I have people who are into all kinds of works. Some are in the UK, some in the US, some in Canada, some in Nigeria. So when I talk about opportunities, I know everywhere we have the opportunities. The question is, are you positioned to enter them? That's the question. So let's talk about how we actually step into opportunities, into possibilities. Let's look at it. We're going to look at several principles that would help us to step into opportunities and possibilities this coming year 2026. Because with this preparedness, ending the year standing at the gate of 2026 and opening that gate with this readiness, I am so sure we would make good of 2026. So that's going to become a year better than any other in our lives. Not just because we prayed, not just because we believed, but also because we carried out the steps, principles that would help us, help our faith, help our works, help all that we bring into 2026 to work together. So let's look at the first principle. The first principle I wanted to look at is that you can start from where you are. A lot of people I meet are still where I was some years back, always asking, what else do I need to go ahead? There was a time in my life I felt if I had an iPhone, I would be able to do better. If I had the latest Android, I'll be able to do better. Oh, if I have a newer laptop, I'll be able to do better. If I have a desktop setup, then I'll be able to do better. Oh, if I have better lighting, my videos will be better. Oh, if I went to another school to learn something, or if I went for another training to learn something else, I will be better. One day came, I realized I don't need to learn new things. I just needed to start from where I was. Because progress does not begin with ideal conditions. It begins with honest position. Many people delay progress because they are waiting to feel ready. You might never feel ready. In fact, all the things I've achieved 2025, I wasn't ready for that. I did not feel ready. Up to the time of doing that, with all the brightness, I didn't feel ready. But you see, readiness grows after moving, not before it. You got to move, and then you grow into readiness. You don't need a new life to start again. No, you don't need to die out. You don't need to change location. You don't need to change your clothes. You don't need to change your style. You just need to change your mind. You know, you don't need a new life to start again. You need a clear view of where you are. And that's what you will need. So where are you financially? Where are you professionally? Where are you emotionally? Skill-wise, where are you? All right? It's not an emotional thing, right? Don't just, it's not aspirationally, but realistically. Don't just play with your emotions. Don't begin to say, I wish that, confess this. No. Just be real with yourself. Where are you? Where are you professionally, financially, emotionally, skill-wise? Where are you? And then realistic about it. Because clarity is the foundation of progress. Once you can have that clarity, then you are ready for progress. Principle number 2 says start with what you have. Remember, number 1 says start from where you are. Start with what you have. That's principle number 2. What you have is enough to start, sir. My sister, what you have is enough to start with. Not enough to finish. I know, I agree. Yes. But it's enough to begin, right? It's enough to begin. Many people are overqualified to start, yet they are undercommitted to act. If you can act, you can finish. You already have experience. You already have some level of experience. You have some level of skills. You have networks. You have access to information. You have tools you are not even fully using yet. Some of us have phones that we don't use a tenth of their capacity. The cameras are clear. The microphone is good. Yet you have not been able to share your message. Your voice is not heard because you are waiting for a studio. There are tools. There are people who can teach you. I told a few friends I could train them in Canva. Some of them have not come for the training, even though it was free. I'm not going to do it free anyway. While someone else said, can you teach me Code BB? And I taught her a few things, and today people are calling on her to help them with Canva. In fact, I have a testimony of a wonderful man. He says I'm his teacher. He says he's a mentor. He approached me for training on Canva, and within a few weeks, he's reeling out wonderful stuff with his own, his own intellectual property. He has a radio program. He has his book selling on Amazon. Before I met him, though, but he is always pushing the boundaries, even at over 60 years. So what are you complaining about? You're 35, you're 45, you're 55. What's your complaint? You have tools they're not even using. Confidence does not come before action. Confidence flows after action. It follows action. Momentum creates belief. Even if you have a little amount of belief, once you start getting momentum, you believe in yourself. That's why you see people that start doing something, they may not be so good at it. Look at all the singers, They weren't as good as they are now when they started. But with time, as they started doing some, people were telling them they were getting better, they became more confident. Some artists to get on stage, they don't need to even pick a key. They know the key to sing on. They just know it. They know how to move the crowd. Whereas go check their history. Before, they couldn't even face the crowd sometimes. Belief grows when you move. Can you move, please? If only you could move, I bet you would also believe. Principle number 3 is to find collaborations that way. 2026 will not reward lone struggle. 2026, I believe, is a year for collaboration. I've started already getting myself in line with people, collaborating with young people, undergraduate and postgraduate students on a project I call the Agora Up, where we're going to be helping out with guys in the universities all over the country, sharing the knowledge, the experience we've had, and helping them to choose better right now. So that as a country, a community, and whatever kind of placement you want to put them, they will do better anywhere they find themselves. And that would go into what I call the ACE, the aspiring construction and entrepreneurs, where we're going to be able to set up help for people into my line, construction and developments, woodwork, steelworks, name it, and help them to shift themselves from doubt to where they can start their companies, helping them with their audit, helping them with their accounting, teaching them what mistakes they would not fall into. And do that. I need to collaborate with them. So I believe strongly that 2026 is a year to collaborate. It will reward strategic collaboration. That's why I wanted to share this insight. Let me say it clearly. You don't need more strength. You just need better alignment. In fact, not every collaboration is good. I know. Not every connection is helpful. Yes. But you need to get the winning collaborations, which are value aligned, their direction aligned, and they're mutually beneficial. If you know your direction, then you can find people who are aligned in that direction. If you know your values, it's easier to find people who have the same value. And then you can all mutually benefit from this alliance. So ask yourself, who amplifies me? Who drains me within my cycle? Who complements my gaps? If you find them, put them in. Whoever drains you, push them away. Whoever amplifies you, stick with them. Whoever complements your gaps, you need to work with them. Because who you work with determines how far and how fast you go. I hope we're taking notes. Principle number 4 is to get clear direction for life. When direction is unclear, energy is wasted. But when direction is clear, effort compounds. Clarity reduces anxiety. Direction simplifies decisions. With direction, you don't need to have too many options anymore. It's easier to make a choice. For example, when I leave home sometimes, and I probably had to eat out lunch, and I've taken a particular kind of meal, I'll call my house and say, I call my wife and say, what are we having for dinner? Because I've taken this for lunch. Automatically, I don't want to take that meal for dinner, right? Simplifies things. The same way, when you have direction, you simplify your decisions. You don't need to figure out your entire life at a go. You need to just define your next focused direction. What is it that God is calling you to? What is it that life is calling you to? What is it that your skills and your aspirations, your passion, your value, the breath you take, where is it directing you towards? For 2026, ask yourself, what is my primary focus? 2, what skill must I strengthen? 3, what habit must I release? Clarity is not pressure. Clarity is actually relief. So you need to answer those questions. Don't be pressured. Know that after answering those questions, you'll find relief. And the workbook we'll be sharing with you will help you to answer these questions. We'll try and quickly do a little work on it before we close. We'll share it before we close that. We'll share a mini part of it before we close, just to help you quickly put some things together, while you can get the robust one if you drop your emails for us on the chat. Now, principle number 5 is taking calculated risks. We all say life's about risk, but do you want to take unnecessary risk? No. You want to take calculated ones, because fear does not disappear. People say the planes are the safest means of transportation, flying by air. Yet, we hear of accidents. Nobody prays for it. By road, there are accidents. Nobody prays for them. If you travel on water, there are accidents. Nobody prays for them. What do? You follow some safety rules. Don't overspeed. Use your safety belt. Make sure your cars are checked, your tires are good. You're on the boat, make sure you're on a sizable boat. You don't overload the boat. You're wearing your safety vest. The plane, follow the instructions. The airlines are monitored, and all those things. They are calculated. Because fear does not disappear, except, of course, in the face of faith. It is managed when it comes to the secular life. A calculated risk is not reckless. It is informed courage. Calculated risk will involve learning. It needs testing. You need to adjust, and it needs growing. So failure is not identity. All right? In case you fail because you tried something, it's not your identity. It is your feedback that the way you went about this, something was not working well. Figure it out, swap it around, and that same process would work. And then everybody will say, oh, he took a risk, she took a risk, but she made it. And feedback is a gift, right? Feedback is the gift that experience gives you. If you're willing to learn from it, feedback could be your gift. Principle number 6, let's look at it, is exploring new opportunities. New opportunities rarely are looking comfortable anyway. Almost every time a new opportunity arrives, it's going to ruffle feathers. It's going to make you break a sweat sometimes. I remember every time a big opportunity came my way, it always comes with so much pressure sometimes that I will nearly let go. My first foray into doing some business by myself came with a threat to say, look, you got to have these, you don't be to blacklist you. Until a God-sent friend, I call him Saba, told me, say, God, calm down. Whatever they require, we're going to put it together. You're working somewhere, I'm working somewhere. We're going to come together and meet up that requirement and make this work. The rest, as they say, is history. Opportunities may come, looking unfamiliar. But growth does not shout anyway. It whispers through curiosity. Are you curious enough to try this opportunity? You must be willing to learn. You must be willing to experiment in 2026. You must be willing to explore. 2026 will favor those who stay open and adaptable. Like I said, these are my insights. If they resonate with you, think about it. So, let's reposition ourselves in 2026. Now, I want you to pause. And if you can write this down, go ahead. If you can write it down where you are, if you are driving or something, do not try to reflect deeply on it. But if you can write, please write it down. Write down one thing I must stop carrying into 2026. What is one thing I must stop carrying into 2026? What's that one thing I want to stop carrying into 2026? Also, one thing I must intentionally be in 2026. Then finally, one decision I will no longer postpone in 2026. As I go to 2026, one thing I must stop carrying with me, one thing I must intentionally build, and one thing I will no longer postpone. You see, why are you preparing this? Why am I asking you to write this down? It's what you're going to carry along in 2026, because by law, you don't enter a new year empty-handed. If you do, you might not have any offer from the year. You enter a new year decided. You enter the new year decided. Please, you can also snap your screen right now so that these reflection questions You can go through them later. But I will advise you to go through them tonight while you are still in this reflective mood. Answers to these three questions will totally, take it from me, they will totally redefine your approach, your life, and the results you get from 2026, no matter the area of life you want to face. If you're a minister of the gospel, you are into religious things, you are into health, you are into hospitality, you are a career person, you're an entrepreneur, you are a student, name it. The answers to these three questions will redefine your approach and your outcome. 2026 action plan worksheet. So number one question is current position. Describe where you are. Okay, it's something you need to answer by yourself. Say, describe where you are. Describe it in as many words as you can. Describe it. The number two question is three biggest lessons for 2025. Write out your three biggest lessons for 2025. Number three, what will you do or what will you leave behind in 2026? You need to know what it is. Number four, skills and resources you already have. List them out. The skills and resources you already have. List them. Number five, one major focus for 2026 that you would have. One major focus for 2026. Some people are going to write the exam. Some people are going to learn skills. Some people are going to start using their skills. Some people want to start a new business. Some people want to get a new job. Some people want to just learn to stand up for themselves. They want to just learn to take decisions. And then number six, one calculated risk you will take in 2026. Number seven, write down the support you need in 2026. Do you need a coach? Do you need a mentor? Do you need an accountability partner? Do you need a community? Name it, whatever it is you think you need. Number eight, write down the personal commitment statement, your personal commitment statement for 2026. Okay? All right. So, I hope we have that. Do we have that? Have you gotten that? Everybody, have you checked the chat box? Are you reading through? All right. I'm so close so that we can have some time to, also share with ourselves. Okay. So I want to leave you with this. 2026 is not waiting for perfect people. It is waiting for prepared, intentional individuals. So as you step forward into 2026 in a few days, trust that clarity will meet with motion. Trust, all right? That clarity will meet with motion. And strength will meet with obedience. The gate is not locked, okay? The gate of 2026 is not locked. In fact, may the gate of 2026 never be locked against us. That gate will be open for us. The question is, will you step forward into this open gate? So before you leave today, I want you to commit to creating your 2026 action. I've shown you that simple form. And if you drop your email, I will send you the more robust one that will give you deeper insight. I've prepared that for you. It's free of charge for now. Because the more robust one helps you to understand your goals, your direction, and how we can support you meaningfully in 2026. That's why I also want you to leave your email behind so that I can send you a link to a form, such a way that as you feel and prepare your own action plan, I will see a version that would help our team to help you meaningfully and support you meaningfully in 2026. We cannot help what we don't understand. And we cannot guide what is not defined. So if you show us what you need, we know what you're defining, we can guide you. Okay. Thank you for your attention. That the gate is open. You just need to step in. Just step into that gate. So the question is, will you step forward? Will you step forward? Thank you for listening.